Hello. I forgot to grab my paper towels from upstairs. Hey, Alex. No worries. Sorry I'm on so late. I slept like shit again last night, so I just kind of took a day. And I'm still hurting too. I wanted to be on earlier this morning, but waking up 3 or 4 times last night when my alarm went off, I'm like, you know what? Forget it. And then just all day I've been fighting with my back, trying to even just do the basic things. I mean, I'm getting better, you know. I was able to sit up out of bed this morning with no real trouble. But sleeping through the night still hurt. Like every time I'd roll over, my back would just freak out. So. Give me a sec, I'll be right back. I want to go up and get a fresh roll of paper towels. Be right back. I'm back again. Shoulder feels like I got a knife being stabbed into it, but I'm back. What'd they chew you out for this time? One moment, gotta go to kick. Gotta kick a woodpecker. Sounds like you're dealing with much the same personality that I dealt with. Doesn't care about how things work, as long as the bosses are happy. Okay, so it looks like the floors are actually the same gray as the dashboard with black pads for anti-slip. Good to know. Yep. Okay. So it just wasn't in a timely enough manner for them, or was it something else? There might be something lost in translation there, I'm sorry. Ah. So are you saying you got somebody there spying on you for her? That sounds kind of fucking familiar. Yeah, it seems like she's developed a personal problem with you. Like I said before, all this is sounding really familiar. Seat base. Also gray. Okay. Gonna have a little bit of brush painting to do then. Quite a little bit of brush painting. But just remember, HR is not your friend, but the process is there to cover your ass. Hey, Aries. How you doing? You home from work yet, or are you still on the premises? Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely document as much as you can, Alex, because all of this is echoing is really familiar. If that makes any sense for you. Since I've got the green out, I'm gonna at least paint the frame members of the roof. Then we'll get the gray out, start painting the lower interior compartment. Are you having an okay day at work, Aries? I had to go into mine today and pick up my transmission pan gasket. Sorry, just dealing with... Because it's not just my lower back now, it's actually going up into my shoulder blade too. I'm a little more mobile than I was yesterday, but like I laid down last night just to doom scroll on my phone for a little while. And as soon as I tried to get up to go take a shower, it took me 10 minutes just to get standing on the up by the wall. All because I'd stopped moving, you know. And that's the real kicker of any kind of back pain or anything like that is your back might feel fine, but as soon as you stop moving, everything tightens back up. So every time I try and roll over in my sleep, I get a nice little jolt. Exactly, and I've been compensating since Thursday. This isn't exactly the way I expected to spend my 4 days. I wanted to be a little more productive than I had been. But shit happens. Let's pick a different mix. This one's not terrible, it's just not what I want to hear right now. And I can't find any pictures of the Fennek like in the field. You know, like how you can get pictures of like the weasel and stuff on the move. So I can't get anything that guarantees I'll be putting the camo net on correctly. But I do know that it gets stored on top of the vehicle right here. So I think I'm going to stretch out some of the green camo net, make it look a little worn in a different color at least. Still the woodland type, but a bit more green, tan, and brown. Then have it folded properly and tied down, so at least it looks right. Because the Germans don't really carry a lot on the outside of their vehicles. And I did find pictures. I remember last time I worked on this, I was mentioning how there's a anti-glare cover that's kind of velcroed on around the window. And I wanted to figure out a way to replicate it. I have to go see if I can find them. It'll be next week sometime. But kind of like a fine mesh bag, almost like a tea bag, but black. So that way I can cut it to size and shape and make the frame for it around the window. And that'll at least make that, it'll look like that material and get that part made. And I thought about the roof a little more. I'm not going to add anything to it. I'm not going to really have the side doors open, so you really won't see it. I'll have the top hatches open. If I do open a side door, again, you won't be able to look, you know, up inside like that. Doesn't mean I'm going to be sloppy about the painting. And then the glass gets sandwiched in because there's actually an armor plate that goes over this and over the front. But I'm going to leave that off until I get the top and bottom closed up. The one thing I did notice is this panel right above the gas pedals is white. I don't care if I bring a little up onto the control panel, it's going to be getting painted a darker gray anyway. I just want to be sure I had a nice, good transition for this panel. Excuse me. And it looks like the main instrument panel up in here is going to be a decal anyway. So that's good. So should I do something different and do the ISAF camouflage instead? Because you got your standard NATO flash. I just did that on the LAV. Or you've got the often not seen desert version. I think there's 3 colors to it, just like the Leopard 2. There's sand, there's the dark brown, then there's almost a black brown. So I'd want to find some actual pictures of one in ISAF service. Let me see. There's a neat take on it. The NATO flage with sand over it. But it's typically just the sand and brown. Okay. Maybe I'll do that, and then I can do the KSK troops in Trumpeter and the crew in Flecktarn. So that way I could have this guy and this guy in the German desert uniform, and these guys in the standard vehicle crew uniform, which I've seen over there, so I know it's not uncommon. We'll do that. And I think I have just enough desert camouflage netting left to put some stowed away on the back. Okay. The instructions are clear as mud when it came to this, so I'm going off of pictures. Well, thanks for hanging out again. I was genuinely hoping to do some longer streams these past few days. It's difficult to kind of explain how numbingly tiring muscle pain like this can be, and nerve pain. Especially when it doesn't let you sleep. Yeah, you gotta stand up for yourself in that, man. It's... Don't put yourself through the same crap I did, but like I said, you have more resources at your disposal than I did as well. So I'm glad you have that and you're able to use them. And I hope it turns out in your favor, too. Yeah, just don't tell her that the American was right and she's full of shit, you know? Kidding, kidding. I don't know the extreme details of your situation, but it sounds like it parallels mine very closely. I just hope yours turns out better. That's the other part of it. Before I left, I was having nightmares of going in there and having to do everything myself, and just non-stop over and over again. I was waking up from it. It's like, nah. The fuck? Allie, what were you doing? Come here. Come here. Did you try jumping up and I scared you when I turned? Huh? Come here. Come here, girl. Come here. Come on. I know it's what you wanted. Come here. Come here, little monsters. Okay, fine. She doesn't want up. She'll get up when she wants to. Try Twitch or Kick and let me know if there's any difference, because YouTube's been having a lot of latency issues lately too. I'm not noticing anything odd on my side. But I even went to bed early last night, but it just felt like every half hour or so I was waking up whenever I'd try and roll over or move. Having to get creative with the painting here. Because they don't have the detail for the rubber pad that's on the material. But they've got the angles right, so I'm just basically painting in a rough shape that looks right. I think I should have used a straighter black, but a lot of what I'm seeing looks more black-gray than black. So I'm just going to stick with it. Keep it uniform that way. Even though I may break out some plastic chunks and make the G36 clips that go on here. The little clamping mechanism that holds it in place for the crew. Tell you one thing, I wish we had a thunderstorm coming here. We haven't had rain since, I want to say, May? We had one rainstorm the other night, so I'm wrong in that. But it wasn't enough to really do much. It got my car dirty. It rained mud. So right now I'm just painting in, because these are photo etched floor plates. I'm painting in the small bits that are the grip tape. Basically the anti-slip tape on the floor. And since this will be getting a desert finish, I'll be putting a sandy wash on the interior to give it some character. Maybe throw a couple water bottles inside. this is going to be fun. There's like a foam padding all throughout these little cubbies here. I think it's even on the walls. It's on the lower half down here. I don't know how far down it goes. I know it goes into the bottom of the bins here. Yeah, it's on the walls too. All the way up to the windows, so I'm gonna have to do some extra painting with this color. Didn't need as much green as I thought, but it was easier just to base it in the green than fill in everything else. I have no idea what you're trying to reference there, Aries. I'm sorry. They basically turned the interior into a rubber room. Yeah, it's even all this around here. There. There. So far, today hasn't been terrible. I just wish I wasn't so exhausted. Like I said to somebody who responded onto one of my YouTube posts, if you see me on a lot earlier, it means I'm feeling a lot better. Obviously, the answer has been made. It's not the pain I had the other day, at least. And it kind of keeps my brain off of it for a minute. I mean, what else am I gonna do? Lay in bed? Be bored out of my brain? I'd rather be doing something than stuck in bed. I think even the back wall is padded. Yeah, it looks like anything that's exposed has that same black-gray foam padding on it. But I mean, if you get in a vehicle rollover in this thing, and you're hitting this back wall with the radios and seats in the way, you're kind of fucked anyway. Hey, Rat Pack, how you doing? It has been a while. How you feeling? Rat Pack Norway is one of the OG channel members. Okay, now let me get a look. Sorry. Yeah, it goes up all the way around, at least the side windows. Oh, I hear that. I'm hoping to sell off a few models in the next few months. I have a bigger plan. Because I'll need it when I move, put it that way. What did I just miss? Thanks for that. Every little bit helps. That's going to go toward the new plan. Not getting rid of the Camaro, but the next year and a half I'm going to need a truck. And I ain't buying some newfangled piece of junk. I'm gonna get someone's old piece of junk. I'm sure everybody else is tired of hearing about my dreams. Too much. I shouldn't have squirted out that much, but that's alright.
That's what she said.
Saying it now before Aries gets a giggity out of it. Sorry, got an itch. Now we go through the control panels. See, he got a giggity out of it. Now I need straight black paint. Ooh, excuse me. There we go. All you guys with the giggity. There's a giggity tax, you know. Excuse me again. But yeah, since you've last been on here, Rat Pack, we're on YouTube, we're on Kick. I'm trying my best between jobs here or between work and, you know, home to get the channel growing. Welcome back, Alex. Yeah, Rat Pack Norway's... Yeah, he's trying to start a bit war. Trying to evolve, anyway. Trying to plan ahead for some eventualities that'll come up. Positive eventualities, but still stuff that I'll have to deal with. Because the wife still says I should look into trying to open a hobby shop when I move. But that, to me, that's low on the radar. Yeah, I've actually moved rooms in the house. So now I'm in a larger room. I'm in what we call the TARDIS room. Well, it's a lot of work, but it's something I'll have plenty of time to do. The same time, I can stream while I'm hobbying. Excuse me. You know, one of those things where you just got the cameras rolling while you're working? Yeah, they give me a decal for the dashboard, but they don't give me decals for any of the other placards in the vehicle. Excuse me again. We're about due for a stretch break anyway. And I'd have to gauge the town that we moved to see if it would be worth opening one, and how to cater it. You know, like what way to go with it. Ugly face for yawning, I know. What do you mean? I am an actual Air Force person. Paint these seats. Well, former actual Air Force person. And just because we worked around the jets doesn't mean we know everything about them. Like, I can't answer questions about the radar. doubt this will stand up straight, so I'm gonna lean it against this bottle. Lean. There we go. Oh my god. I know I gotta stop that, but shows you how damn tired I am. Hey, model student. I'm trying. Person of interest is such a suggestive term. Am I being monitored by somebody? I swear I haven't spoken publicly about the things go on at certain RAF bases in the summer. But anyway. I don't say coffee. I might need to grab a soda and a snack, though. Let me get this last seat painted, and then we're going to go on our little 5-minute break, because it's been just over an hour and 10 minutes, so I'm late for that it is, and I just squooged out too much paint again. That's okay. Just as long as Aries isn't watching me as he's driving and I don't put him to sleep on the road, he'll be okay. Yeah, a lot of the more modern Trumpeter kits have been pretty decent. The LAV was a really fun build. So far the Fennek, some little things here and there, but out of the box it's just fine. Even the wheels on it are okay. Back when I bought it, I went and got the Master Box KSK and crew figure set for it too. So these, I'll have to paint the radios a warmer olive drab color. That'll work. Yep. But let me take my break, move around a little bit, maybe I can stop the yawns. Be right back. I'm back. I have a few snacks here. Have to take a snack break. And here's a Centauro I made many years ago by Ace. Little 72nd scale one. Still a pretty nice model though. Come on. There we go. And this is the short wheelbase version, I believe. Come on, autofocus. There it goes. Lots of extremely tiny photo etch on this one. Yeah, the rubber tires on this are actually okay. The LAV, they were too wide, because this essentially uses the same size tire. On the LAV, you see how it's got 2 squares, 1 square, 2 squares, 1 square? The Trumpeter LAV for the wider Michelin tires had 3 squares, 2 squares, 3 squares, 2 squares, so they were a third wider. Yeah, let's have some sun chips. I need to get these shoes off too. I had to go out this morning and pick up a transmission pan gasket and a gallon of Deck 6 because I've got a gasket leak on my current one, so I may as well get that fixed while we're under there doing the leaf springs and replace the transmission mount bushing. That actually feels better, letting the feet breathe. This is not the right color. Khaki drab will work. I need something browner for the radios. Well, until somebody makes a true independent rear end suspension kit for a second generation Camaro, I'm stuck with what I got. But yeah, even though it's got a 3-man crew, the Fennek is absolutely massive. I mean, it is an oddly large vehicle for reconnaissance, especially considering it's equipped to do reconnaissance from cover. But I guess when you want survivability, I mean, give me a second to go get one of my Humvees and you'll see this thing dwarfs a Humvee. And that's not a tiny vehicle either. I don't know, you think KMW would be willing to sell me a Fennek? There's one. There we go. Sorry, there was kind of a constant droning to that particular set that wasn't sitting well with me. Well, that's what I currently have as a 78. Used to have a 79. Ah. I'd love to have my 73 Dart back, though. That was a great car. Mine? That shitty brown copper color. The dark camel, as they call it. It's not a bad color in the right light, but I don't know, it can look pretty bad at times. And my first one was a blue Berlinetta. But it didn't stay blue for very long. It was also a Utah car, so once I got back from England with it, I don't think it lasted very long. I think corrosion got the better of it after I sold it off to some high school kid. Rockford's was actually gold, I think, or am I misremembering for punch in chips? You know, I said I'd stop buying models so I could save up for the Humvee. But I really want to do that Mortar LAV now so I can do the interior on it. I mean, it's $40 and I've already had to spend $100 fucking this week on my car. That interior looks pretty damn good like that. Yeah, corrosion's nasty. The one I currently have is a California car that got sent to Arizona. And I think for a good chunk of its life, the transmission was gone on it. So it sat half protected under a lean-to without moving, because the entire driver's side, all the rubber's gone, and that's where the worst of the corrosion is. The passenger side, all the rubber's still there, even though it's, you know, stiff from being 47, 48 years old now. But it's still physically there, where the driver's side's just completely gone. Jesus Christ, what mix did I grab this time? It's not too loud for you guys, is it? And then the seats mount there. I get enough compliments on the Camaro as it is. I added some copper to green shift stripes on it to kind of complement the brown. And even today, taking it to the grocery store to get some spider spray, people were complimenting me on it. So I know it's a good car. It needs a lot of work still, but it's a good car. Wow, the Caster Labs just regurgitated everybody's names up and said you joined. So for everybody watching on Twitch, welcome. Part of me even wants to do like the seat belts and everything in this, but at the same time, it might be a little overkill. I had originally bought this to be the trailer load on the 35th scale Fawn, but I'm thinking I might do a Boxer instead, GTK Boxer, but that's still a ways away. Well, mine's been loved all right. Only paid $2,000 for it, but I put 6 into the motor. Still the original 305 block, but aluminum heads, high-rise intake, 4-barrel carb, and a bit lumpier cam. Not enough to make it go, but enough to make it sound good, you know. And once it gets above 2,500 RPM, bye-bye. Everybody underestimates the 305. It's like, stop shitting on it, people. It is, aside from the bore, it is the exact same motor as the 350. And you put the right parts on it, it'll generate just as much horsepower as a 350. And it's just stupid when people are like, oh, it's only a 305, never mind. Okay. I bet a lot of these guys who think they have 350s in their Camaros never actually ran the numbers on their block. Oh, and shorty headers. Hell, she came factory with posi. Allie, come on. What do you mean once the glass is in? Sorry, I must have missed something. Oh, 327s as well, yeah. Or even the 307. But yeah, all the belts and everything are fine. I don't have a supercharger or anything like that in it. Been tempted, but no. Because I do have a 3-inch rise cowl hood on it. It would be a tight fit, but I could probably hide a supercharger under it. Oh, yeah, that's... Well, all the doors can be modeled open. I mean, the interior on this kit is a super detailer's dream. I am going to try and make the anti-glare covers for the glass. I need to find some of that really fine mesh that, like, the teabag mesh, but black, so I can make those. But you can actually see quite a bit. Now, I didn't detail the roof, but I am going to have to detail the doors, because they have pouches everywhere on the doors. Like, let me find a picture and count them. Yeah, there's 5 pouches on the inside of each door. And I don't think Trumpeter even put blobs in for those, so... I know, sacrilege, I'm using paint water to get 1 decal done. And we're doing the ISAF camouflage. Because I've got some KSK with their G36s. And the crew. So 2 of these guys are going to be in the hatches, one's just going to be standing on top. It's the Master Box set. There's a lot of basic details that Trumpeter still left out, though. Like, inside each door is a rest and a big clip for the buttstock and the foregrip on a G36. So I'm not really gonna bother with it too much. Yeah, this one you can give it the MG3 or the 40. I'm probably gonna give it the 40. There's no provision for the M2. I never noticed that before. Right here on the roof, there's a holster riveted to the ceiling for a pistol. You know what? I'm going to make this a little easier on myself. I should have done it before I made it wet. I'm not going to fight that on 3. No, looks like a some form of USP or maybe an FN57. Whatever the current standard pistol sidearm is. MP7 wouldn't be a bad choice for a vehicle crew, considering its size. Where's my... There it is. I didn't want to open up my next bottle. But at the same time, I could see that being a problem, because it's a good weapon, but it's a little ungainly in shape, you know? I don't know how to describe it. When you're looking at something that was basically made to punch through steel and body armor. Because they realized the MP5 just wasn't cutting it anymore. There we go. Everybody's coming in on Twitch. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, USP 45 I think would be the best one. Honestly, though, as a vehicle crew, if I have to get out and fight like that, you're right, an MP7 would not be wrong. It would be desirable. Or, like, again, the FN57, because you've got something small that you could keep in a holster like that, but it has a similar stopping power to the MP7. Or why don't we just ask James Cameron if we can use his design for the pulse rifle and bring the Tommy gun back out? I mean, hell, the grease gun was used up until the 90s. Abrams crews were rocking it. Yeah, the 45. God damn it. Okay, my decal setting is having a weird effect on the paint. It's turning it green, even though the brush is clean. I don't care if it's centered, it's going to be dirtied all to hell. I think that's one area you're not going to see very well. The 45 round is so fat. There's so many things you could do with that round. Just like they're making all like the specialized other types of bullets. Yeah, we're gonna let that dry for a little while. What else can we work on in the meantime? I can start getting the glass in. I gotta paint the trim around there first. Alex, have you ever noticed what's sitting right there? I don't know if you can zoom in on that on your whatever you're watching on. Or do I need to go get it? Yeah, the glass on this kit is not the most intelligently done. I would have made it so you could just put it in from the backside. No, they have you put it on, and then it gets, like here, the front glass, and then it gets sandwiched underneath another. No, that's not a Chris Vector. Look again. The Vector is what they're using on the newer version of it, but that's not a Vector. So I'm just getting in here painted in NATO green in case it shows through once everything's sandwiched. If I had the tax stamps... Hey, Major Havoc. You're up late. If I had the tax stamps to get a legit Tommy gun, I'd use that shell and make one. And make a pulse rifle. Because it doesn't change its functionality in any way. It just changes its cosmetics. Yeah, I'm going to be reprinting that. I sold that one for a couple $100. Same guy as buying the Corporal Hicks model I did. And he's going to buy the refit. So in the future, I'm going to be doing yet another refit. Probably once I move. I don't want to risk breaking it when I move to Washington. And by the time I move, I'll probably have more skills and do an even better job on it than I did this time. Yeah, and 27. We're going to be full-on empty nesters by then. And the wife wants to move closer to her family up in Washington. I don't particularly want to go to Washington, at least not when it's in its current geopolitical configuration, but pick my battles, you know? I grew up in Florida. My parents currently live in Florida. Well, I wouldn't mind being back in the tropics. I still want someplace a bit more forested, you know? But knowing my luck, that trouble will follow, because back in 23 when we went on our little road trip up there, spent 2 weeks in the Pacific Northwest, drove all the way to Astoria, Oregon. Saw some Goonies places, even saw Ali Sheedy's house from Short Circuit. It didn't rain one single fucking day on the entire 2-week trip. How in the hell do you go to Astoria, Oregon, and not get rain? Come on. We saw it all around us. We even drove up to a looking point that we could see down onto Mount Everest. Or not Mount Everest, Mount St. Helens? Mount Everest is on a wrong continent, or different continent. And even driving up that mountain to see Mount St. Helens, we didn't encounter a single rainstorm. Not a single one. So if that's how my luck is going to be, yeah, this is a stupidly huge vehicle for 3 people. Now let's see what the inside looks like with the seats in place. Am I bumping the seat forward at all? Yep, the seats do fill up a lot of room. So I either need to tilt this more that way, which makes sense, because it was bumping the seat. And the only other solution there is to move the seat forward. Yeah, it's still bumping the seat. So, cut off the little idiot pins. If you can. Got one gone. Yeah, but my wife even went to the top of the Astoria Tower, and there wasn't a rainstorm in sight. Not a single one. And this is why we test fit, folks. There we go. We have clearance, Clarence. Funny thing about my wife making it to the top of that tower. Her knees are just as bad, if not worse, than mine. And, you know, she's not exactly a tiny woman either, you know. Her sister had told her that the view is great from the Astoria Tower. Her sister's a really big girl. My wife had thought that somehow her sister had made that climb. It was only after my wife made the climb that she called her sister and said that she had done it, when her sister finally explained to her that she just meant the view was nice from the hill where the parking was, that she had not actually gone up the tower. So my wife went up the tower for no reason, to be honest. But she made it. She's proud of it, and I'm proud of her too. Yeah, this paint, I don't know if I gotta mix it more or if this is just a bad batch, but it's not sticking too well. Once it's dry, it won't matter. Oh. Alright, let's start doing some glass. And yes, I was waiting for somebody to make the "what's your vector, Victor" comment. Where are my nippers? I used them earlier. There they are. just the wife messaging me. Sorry, just clearing up my notices. Depending on how long this might have to sit to dry, might do some work on the cicadas base tomorrow. Gonna swap it out for a round base and do something a little different than what I originally had in mind. But it's something a bit more feasible. I wish I could have made it, but I know I wouldn't have been able to. Eek. If I remember, it all goes in from the outside. Yeah, it does. There we go. Now, another thing I do for clear plastic, especially considering this is getting sandwiched, if you have anything like Future or any other kind of floor shine, that's your glue. It's not as strong as a styrene to styrene bond, but it keeps mistakes from being unrecoverable. It flows just around like liquid cement, but it dries clear, so if you get a little on it, it's okay. And it does have a pretty strong bond once it dries. Something to rest this on so that doesn't fall out. Okay. Looks like the side windows are both number 7. That's fine. Elysium was a decent movie. I can understand why at the time it didn't do too well. It was a bit on the nose about immigration and stuff. But it wasn't a bad film. Competently made. My only real gripe is in the original heist scene. Would you really be using 200-year-old cars and weapons to do it? I liked Elysium more than I liked Chappie. But Chappie's problems are more in who the director chose to star in it than anything else. And I get that part of Chappie was we were supposed to sympathize or empathize with the robot more than the people. And the people in it were supposed to be ugly, no matter what side they were on. But yeah, Blomkamp makes solid movies. I was hoping to have seen. I was hoping his Alien 5 or whatever they were going to call it would have. Hey Kenneth, how you doing? Oh, and if everybody could, please, share one of my shorts, something on a Facebook profile or anywhere you frequent. That would really help. I need to get, I think around, actually I can look, like 2,500 more view hours for the year, and YouTube can finally start doing its job for me. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, I need 2,400 more view hours, so if you could just pick a short that you like and just share it, that's all I can ask. Just trying to get more views on it. Plus, the way this last week went has shown me that I can't do this much more. Not that I want to be lazy, but yeah, I'm one bad accident away from being crippled. Okay. So once we get the big windows in, we'll let them set for a minute, and then we'll get their coverings on. And then we'll go for the little windows. They do fit nice and flush, though, so it makes this trick with the floor finish even better. There we go. Close that up for the moment. Because I think even on the window frames I have to paint the inside surround of that NATO green to be safe. Is that all three of them on there? It is all three. Excellent. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to paint those up before I put them on. But did everybody have a good weekend? I know it's Monday, and that brings with it a lot of what Mondays are known for. Thank you. Yeah, that one's going to change a lot here. I might sit down tonight and get the starting points for the new base laid out, and then maybe we'll start throwing that together tomorrow. So let me see how much of this is going to be visible once this is on. Well, at least I was wise to paint around the inside part first. Okay. Let's get all these cleaned up. But thanks again to everybody. This has been one of the more populous days I've had. Especially for a Monday. Next week we're going to be going back to our regular for what I know right now, we're going to be going back to our regular 2 days a week. Probably be more, just because I am starting to feel that routine again. I just want to be sure I can get back into that before I confirm anything with you guys. Now the routine just means I'll be on later, 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. most days. Maybe earlier, maybe later, depending on the day. That's not really much different from the time when I first started streaming, so we'll do it as I can. I'm just painting around the inner edge of this a little bit, so if it's seen from the inside or the outside, you don't get the gray showing. I'm not painting all of it because I want to leave some glue surface, but just enough that if there's a peek through the inside window, it won't be gray. I probably don't need to do this, but I don't know, and I'm just being a little bit cautious. What the hell? And I hope I didn't endanger our little spider friend's life. But I had to do some preemptive spraying around the house. It's going to start getting colder at night soon. And when that happens, the black widows start to come in. I sprayed mainly outside. And I know our little spider friend lives inside. So they might be okay, but I don't know. But when my son and I were working on my car earlier, trying to figure out the source of a strange noise, only in drive, matches the RPM of the transmission. I'm thinking speedometer cable, so it's probably a hint as to why my speedometer isn't working properly. Anyway, we're under there, and he goes, "Oh crap." I'm like, "What?" He saw a black widow the size of my thumb crawl up into my suspension. And if they're crawling on the car and I drive that thing every day, then that means there's probably ones I'm not seeing elsewhere. And the last thing I need is an egg sac popping on my car while I'm driving, and it getting lots of widows growing in it. So you'll probably catch me a little more often then, especially if you're up more in the afternoons and evenings getting ready for work. Let's see what that does from the inside. Yep, good precaution to take. So yeah, if anyone else is going to build this, do what I did, and your windows should come out just fine. Masking it won't be too much of a problem, since I've got liquid mask that I can just put in there. Just making sure it's fully seated and not floating around. Don't want to put too much pressure on it just in case you squeeze the glue a little bit and it goes up onto the window. But that's not the case. But the windows should be nice and secure in there. But no, after what I found last year, I don't fuck around with Black Widows anymore. I was in Jen's office getting something. Trying to find... Actually, I was trying to find one of B12's antennas, since it had fallen off. And I was down under her desk, and I look in the air conditioning vent, and there's a dead female widow in there. In the vent, not even 2 feet from her feet. And if she'd caught that widow on the wrong day in the wrong mood... There we go. It's like, yeah, I know they're beneficial. They're beneficial, you know, along the fence. In the bushes where they're eating bugs. Not playing face hug and seek in the vents in my house. Let me get that armor plate ready. Because if I try and flip it over to do the other side, it'll most likely fall out too easily. We're going to give it a minute to set up too by doing this. Hooray! Ares Studios made it home. Oh, work called. You got to go back. Ah. Ow, 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 ow. Sorry, just repositioning. Allie, get out of your donut. Come here. Come here, girl. Come on. She heard me. That's what she said. Gives new meaning to that Monty Python song, you know. I saw the first two. I won't get caught up until next week, or at least Thursday. Jen does not want me watching it without her. So it's interesting that we got something alien related she's actually interested in. I don't know, man. I think we kind of got gypped out of what could have been a cool fight montage. Because when I heard Stinkfist start up, right as she went off the ledge after her brother and said, "Watch the omelet," and yeah. I thought we were in for a cool little fight scene with her and the alien and... That's kind of why I picked it for the cicada video, too. No worries. Now, I know these are applique plates. I have to look at something. But tell me, yeah, okay, there is a good gap and they do stick up over the top. Okay, that's all they needed. But tell me you thought you were going to get a neat little fight scene like that too. I feel like something was taken from us by that not coming to fruition. The thing is, my main thing is I feel like the alien, not that it should be treated with reverence, but I feel like it's being treated a bit light-handed in terms of the character it's supposed to be. I don't know how else to put it. Like, it's not scary anymore, I guess. And maybe they're doing that on purpose, so when they finally unveil the fifth creature that's still in stasis, or in its chamber, whatever you want to call it. The fifth creature we haven't seen, but when that comes out and when the plant pod starts doing what it's really supposed to do, I think it's supposed to make them seem more horrific by comparison. That's the other thing. That was too fast. For the amount of damage that the alien's breaking the laws of physics doing that. And it did it twice. And that's what I mean. It feels almost comedic the way that it's doing that. But I also kind of get it. They're using that creature to ground us in the idea of the universe, so that way everything seems more plausible. And then they're going to show us things that are even more freaky deaky than the alien, you know? The plant pod's creepy, but we don't know what it does yet. The really fucked up one, and you'll know exactly what I mean. Poor cat. Poor cat. That's all I gotta say. I'm trying to not be too spoilery, because I'm basically only discussing things we've seen in previews. I'm not going much further than that. And judging from the previews, everything gets captured and taken to the island. And I think that's going to happen in tonight's episode. Either tonight or tomorrow. Is it Monday or Tuesday that it airs? I forget. I'll have to look. And I might just say fuck it and watch it anyway. But I have a feeling those are all getting caught, taken to the island, and then it fucking pulls a Jurassic Park and goes haywire. Otherwise, why would you have people with Chris Vector pulse rifles walking through the grass in the jungle? And I've already discussed my reasons behind why they can't really use James Cameron's pulse rifle anymore. Or my idea behind it. Because I think he's got some kind of copyright protection on his specific design. They can make ones that look like it. But if you notice, ever since Aliens, outside of Alien 3, the original style pulse rifle has never been seen again. Even in video games. It's always been modified in some way to look different. I think they don't want to pay James Cameron to use it. But I also know that either everything going on is ultimately going to amount to nothing, and it's all going to get destroyed. Like Weyland-Yutani's going to nuke the island or something. It's the only way to be sure. But there has to be a reason that all this doesn't matter for anything, because if it doesn't, you invalidate at least the first 3 Alien films and in the story narrative. With modern writing being what it is, I see them invalidating the films, unfortunately. Because someone even asked, well, what about the Queen in Alien vs. Predator? For right now, I think the Alien and Predator universes are distinctly different, and AVP applies more to the Predator universe than it does the Alien one. That's why in Predator Badlands you have Elle Fanning playing a Weyland-Yutani synthetic. I think they're gonna lead up to the next AVP film in Badlands. That's my idea. That's my thoughts on it. Me? After seeing the idea behind Prey, I want to see a Predator story, standalone story. Alright, take it easy, Alex. Have a good night. Get some decent sleep. But a standalone Predator story set in the trenches of World War I, somewhere around Ypres. But it's more like a ghost story between the trenches. Like the Predator's using no man's land and its cloak to go back and forth between the trenches, so no one side gets depleted more than the other, you know? I hope not. Because there's already been Predator versus Batman, Aliens versus Superman, RoboCop versus Terminator versus Predators, or versus Terminator versus Predators. Basically, when Dark Horse had the licenses, they mashed all that shit together. And that kind of thing's good as a one-off, a fun little thought experiment in a comic book. It does not translate well to screen. Especially when you don't follow what was written. An AVP movie would have worked a lot better based on the original comics, the stuff that started it all, because it grounded it in a universe we already knew, the Aliens universe. Unfortunately, they took that away and they put it on Earth in present day 2004, which doesn't work. Alright, I'm gonna start throwing some dust on the floor in here. Dust and dirt. Dust and dirt. I'm gonna have to order some dust soon. Because we're getting pretty close to close-up time on this model. And I know the interior won't be terribly dirty, but there will be something, especially when it's in a desert environment like Afghanistan. We're going to start out with oiled earth, just for that dark brown earthy tone. And then we'll throw some desert dust in there as well. Because this is to represent the heavier shit that gets tracked on in their shoes. And then the dust we'll use more throughout for the more atmospheric stuff. Hey, Flight Sim. That gets tracked in as well every time they open and close the door or hatch. Yeah, decals don't look that great, but whatever. I'll live with it. Get back in here. Not gonna see it, but whatever. I'm gonna say that a lot on this build. I don't care. Whatever. Sometimes it's okay to say whatever. What do you mean you can't find me? Yeah, I'm on Kick and I'm on YouTube. Let me make sure they're all three are working. Aries, if you're out there, could you do the rounds and make sure that everything's working hunky-dory? Yeah, Kick's up. YouTube hasn't... There we go, YouTube just responded. But yeah, all three are active. They're showing it on my end. Yeah, kicks up. Let me look on the YouTubes real quick. Yeah, showing live on YouTube too. Aw, somebody unsubscribed. Oh well. And for those that are interested, subs are live on Kick. I know a lot of people prefer that because the streamer does get more of a return from that. So if you do there, it'd be greatly appreciated. If you prefer Twitch, that's fine too. I should really flat coat that dashboard first. Actually, I should probably give that one more coat of decal set and then flat coat it once everything's dry. Kind of getting ahead of things. Honestly, I'm just trying to stay busy. Yeah, unless you're falling into that stupid age verification stuff that YouTube rolled out, I should be showing up there for you. And for people who think that the interior of these vehicles doesn't get dirty, they do. It doesn't matter how fastidious you are. In theater, these vehicles get fucked up dirt-wise. Let me get the decal solution going on the dashboard real quick, and then we'll come back and do more dusting. I'm not going to go too heavy because this is one of the weird ones. It's like you can see a lot and not a lot at the same time. Exactly, Major Havoc. Okay, how do you say that name? CJUO. Or is that Cujo misspelled? We've got a rabid dog here. Even a little in the seats. Because that butt dust be getting everywhere. And I'm beginning to like these Vallejo effects a lot more. I need to see what other ones are out there and start experimenting with them more, and not just use like the same 2 or 3 colors. Diversify a little bit. But I really like what they're doing. Especially this dirt one, or these, not so much dirt, but the dust ones. They really look right, like authentic-ish. Is that even a word? proper, does what it says on the tin. I don't know. No, these aren't pigments. These are acrylic-based washes. I refuse to use pigments, believe it or not. They're just... For what they are, no. If you want dust, there's other ways of doing dust that's cheaper. But, yeah, let me get the LAV and you can see what I mean. Ow. Allie! You still asleep in there? Ow. It sounds like the music's over. Let me get the next one going. Is there a purpose for just pigments? Yeah. But I'm not a fan of just using just the powder. It's too sticky. But yeah, everything you see on that is done with the Vallejo washes and effects, you know? Like that. Yeah. They're not meant to be used as a wash. I mean, you can, if you know what you're doing and how to do it. You can feather them and you can work them kind of like an oil wash. But the way they work really well as just an agent. They work more like a filter than they do a wash. You can change surface tones with them, but like the way it builds up, it really does work like, say, wet, dirty water, you know? Like the thing's gotten dusty, it's been through a couple dust storms, it's rained on, maybe even snowed on, depending on where it is. Sorry. I've never been able to pop my back. Like, ever. But I know for a while there, everybody was just, you know, for lack of a better term, sucking off MIG pigments on every format. And you honestly get tired of hearing about them. So when I saw the Vallejo range, I'm like, you know what? Let's try something else from the competitor that, for the size, is cheaper. And sure enough, I found something I like. Not really. I'm kind of like half deranged right now. I tried to. I got some, but I was still up at, you know, every half hour, 45 minutes. Every time I'd roll over, I would have like a spasm. So short answer, not really. It's a little easier now than it was yesterday. But it's still giving me issues. Like, I wouldn't go out and, you know, adjust my carburetor or anything today unless it was a life or death matter. How's that? But since I've been having to compensate on how I sit and walk, other things are starting to hurt now. So, it'll go back to normal soon enough. There. I'm going to let that dry for a while. Do I dare put any on these consoles? Because those, I think... Nah, they're going to get dirtied. They'd be dirty too. The screens will be cleaned, but the consoles and controls will be dirty. Yeah, that's going to be fun in there. Some water bottles. I wish I had more German-themed equipment, like modern German, just to throw in there. I'll have to dig around and see if I've got anything that kind of looks the part. I think I got some stuff. I need to really research the Fennek in theater more and see what I can find. Because that's the only way you're going to make it look right. And like I said, this is going to be ISAF in Afghanistan. Yeah, I need to let that dry to figure out what I'm going to do next. Why aren't you going in? There we go. Yeah, can't glue it just yet, though. But after this, I can work on Poppy. Not today. Let me get this out of the way. Or, after the Fennek, we can work on that. I mean, we could do this with a... you know, get the latest Mang Leopard 2A7 or A8 kit on the back of it, or the Revell GTK Boxer. What do y'all think? What would you like to see next after the Fennek? Because I have a feeling this might go pretty quickly once it's glued together. And this is a box and a half of parts. Here's the trailer itself. Hey Geffen, how you doing? The cab. I might even see if there's some 3D printable wheels for this, just to see if there's a difference or something out there that's, you know, interesting. This with a Boxer would look absolutely massive, because the Boxer itself is just as large as a Leopard 2. We could do open windows, open doors. I'm trying to not buy any more models and work on what I've got, so I'd have to buy the Boxer. Because a lot of the people who have been here a while know that I'm trying to save up for a Humvee, and, you know, spending $100 this week for my other car didn't help that. But, yeah, I'm not buying a new truck. I'm not paying a house payment for a car. And I'm going to need a truck soon. And the only chance I've got is to get a Humvee at auction. Even a square body, at today's prices in decent shape, would still be over 10,000. The Dragon Wagon's a nice kit. I've got one of those in 72nd scale too. I might revamp it, because I had an idea with Phil Peterson a while back, the IPMS president. We wanted to do an Area 51 scene where you've got a Dragon Wagon with like a floating thing that's covered and chained down on the trailer, and there's someone peeking under it, and meanwhile you got the troops coming out of the diner running, and then it would be like the diner that was at the Little Alien, but do it all in 72nd scale, like it's set in New Mexico after they recovered the UFO. But yeah, the Tamiya Dragon Wagon's a nice kit. I built that one a long time ago. Yeah, I'm not going to get those glued on until I got the entire hull together. But for the Boxer, let's see what Boxers are going for right now. I know it's a simple kit. It's basically an old school flat pack kit. And what I could do is I could do the tank transporter in the 3-color camouflage, and then do the Boxer in the ISAF camouflage, like it's being taken to and from somewhere. Do I have one on my wish list already? Let me look. I know I was looking at it recently. No, it's not there. Yeah. Let me search it and throw it on my wish list. I just wish there was somebody that did interior parts for the Boxer, because none of the kits, either the troop carrier or the hospital version, have any kind of interior. Yeah, $33. Add to wish list. And that's for the hospital version too. That would be different. I was never a fan of the Mark 44. I've got it, but I don't know, just the design of it didn't really work for me. I forgot Revell did this one in 35th scale. They really missed out by not putting an interior in the ambulance version. Anyway, that's on my wish list, so if it's still there when we finally get to it, I'll get it. Maybe I'll use my VA money. I don't know. There's 72nd scale. Don't want that one. Okay, that's weird. It just disappeared. Here's the other 35th scale one, the standard troop carrier. I'll add that to the wish list too. There, both are on the Amazon wish list, which you can also access on Kick and Twitch. So, if you want to surprise me with a subject for the stream, there you go. else can I do? I know what I can do. Bloop. And bloop. And bloop. We're going to start base coating these guys. 2 in Trumpeter, 3 in Flecktarn. I don't know how I'm going to pull it off in this, especially the Flecktarn, because it's a $5. It's $5. 5 color spot camo. I'm gonna have to. These will be easy because it's just black and green over sand, if I remember right. $5. Yeah, paper models are cool too. They're fun. I haven't done one in a while, but they're fun to do. What was I going to look up? Trumpeter, that's right. I think that's only 3 color. Which I can kind of get away with speckling. Yeah, it's sand, green, and brown, or dark yellow, green, and brown. That'll be easy. The Flecktarn will be harder. I might need to get a really ratty brush and do some testing. Because instead of doing the individual spots like I would in 16th scale or 6th scale, I'd have to use like dithering with a really ratty brush with all 5 of the colors until it looked right. So that's going to be an interesting one. We're gonna fuck around and find out with that. But with these 2 guys, that'll be pretty straightforward. Actually, the dark yellow might be too yellow. Yeah, let's go with... deck tan instead. That seems more appropriate. The dark yellow is good for the base on the Flecktarn, though. Because that is... if you want to try painting it on a figure yourself, dark yellow, NATO green, NATO brown, NATO black, and RLM2 gray. I can go get an actual example of it if you want to see. Oh, there we go. But what I might do with these guys to help pop out details is paint them the sand color, then go in with an umber wash to get all the wrinkles popping, and then go back with the dots. I need a stirring stick. And I'll probably do a little more research on the Fennek crew before I start painting it, just to make sure. But I've seen a lot of Weasel and other vehicle crews are still in Flecktarn when they're in ISAF. I might have to drill and pin these guys' feet so I can put them on a small holding block too. when I get into more of the details. What about their web gear? Is that still the same or no? Looks like it is. Okay. Yep, the ones I'm finding, the pouches, even the shoulder straps. The only thing that isn't colored that is the finer, smaller strapping. Cool. Makes it easier for me. And this guy will actually be armed with, looks like a G36K? Is that the 4-hole or the 6-hole? Oh, it's the shorter barrel, not the C. But yeah, it'll be a G36K with a grenade launcher. And looks like some form of reflective sight. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Actually, what color boots did they have? I never even noticed. Sand color boots. Cool. Looks like it could be either that or black. Alright. We'll probably go with a darker, more warm tan color for the boots. It seems more common. It could go either way, but it seems more common. It actually looks like he's wearing his Gore-Tex. These Master Box figures are surprisingly detailed for what they are. And they're not expensive either. Wow, they're not showing up on Amazon. What's going on there? What the hell? That's a rather roundabout way of doing the search. But yeah, you're looking at like $20 for the 5 figures. And they do modern, they do post-apocalyptic, 25th and 35th scale. Where are my... There they are. Come on, let me grab your foot. Don't be like my cat. No, I don't put clothespins on her. That's mean. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have to pin these guys so I can put them onto painting blocks. Stop rolling forward. Thank you. Or for the fawn, for the transporter, I could do something really anachronistic and mostly fictional, unless they used one to transport the Hobig tiger before it got sold. So I could put a, you know, found in the middle of the woods, pulled out of a river style Tiger 1 onto the fawn trailer. Or would keeping the generation of the vehicles common be better? Because it's been a while since I've done a tiger. Really? No, I think keeping it the boxer would probably be best. Plus, you don't see boxers very often in the model world. But with that, it's been 3 hours. It's currently 4 o'clock. I need dinner. If I'm feeling frisky, I might possess clips from hell. Yeah. If I'm feeling frisky later, I might jump on and do a little more figure work, or we'll get the body halves for this glued together. I can't guarantee anything. I ultimately just want to get rest, though, so I can actually be on earlier and longer tomorrow. Again, any support you're willing to show is greatly appreciated. You don't have to, but if you feel like it, the links are there in Twitch or Kick for assisting in that. YouTube, we're still about 2,500 hours away from... or viewing hours, I should say, away from monetizing on there. And YouTube's more passive, so... But if you'd like to show your support in the meantime, just go to Kick or Twitch, and the options are there. Yeah, we did get a lot done, Model Student. You're not wrong, and I'm actually quite happy with it. I'm not going to do much to the roof. That's the one thing I noticed usually stays pretty clean. If anything, I might take some of the gray wash and just put it around the edge, just to tone it a little bit. But outside of that, and not knowing a lot about this vehicle's operational history either, just hesitant to really do a lot inside. So I might keep these doors closed and not have to deal with seeing too much, and just throw some things that might be visible from the hatches inside. So, but yeah, we got a good solid 3-hour stream in. I'd like to aim for more tomorrow, especially if I'm able to get out of bed in under 5 minutes without having to make angry Optimus Prime noises. So yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and I